So next, let us define the probability of some event. According to the classical definition of probability, we define the probability of an event like this. Let E be a random experiment, random experiment, and A be an event associated to E, then the probability of A denoted by P of A and is defined by CA is equal to NA by N. Now this notation we have done already in set theory, that NA means it is the number of elements in the set A. Here it will mean the number of favorable outcomes to the events, and N of S means it is all possible events. So you can also state like this: number of favorable outcomes divided by number of possible outcomes. So this is what we take as the definition for uh, probability of an event. Now, one thing you can see, that since it is a ratio, so n of s will never be 0. But there is a problem in this definition, that ns can be infinite. And that says the probability of the event should be 0 here. So in this case, we will see that the number of elements in the sample space will be so large that whatever the event be, it becomes either it is undefined because of being infinity by infinity, or it will be 0. Because if Na is any finite number, if Na is finite, then it will become obviously something by infinity becomes 0, becomes very small but positive, so it becomes 0. Or it becomes indeterminate if Na is infinite. So we can say that this is a flaw in the definition here, this in the classical definition. Later, we will define probability, or we can, it will be better to say that we will redefine probability using some other means so that these problems, these flaws will be removed. So for now, we are defining probability for only finite sample space as CA is equals to NA by NS. Later, we will define it for infinite sample space also. So let us see now whatever events we have done, how we can find their probability. So simply, if I take the example of P1 as being the first point giving head this event, then clearly the probability of E1 becomes n of E1 divided by n of A. And as we know that the experiment was to toss 2 coins simultaneously, so n of S was carrying 4 elements or 4 outcomes in favor of that and n of E1 is clearly 2 here. So it is 2 by 4, and so we can say that it is half. So in this case, the probability of the event, the first coin gives head, will be half. In the same way, if I take the event E2 as at least one head that we have seen earlier, then for at least one head, these are the favorable outcomes. So from here we can say that P of E2, or probability of at least one head, will be 3 by 4 in the same way. So this is the probability of this event. So in this way, very simply, we are defining the probability of an event. So now let us come to something more deeper. What values of probability we can get? As we have seen that an event A is a subset of S, and it can be phi also. If I take the probability here, that means we need to calculate the number of elements of these events. So from here we can say the number of elements will be following the same inequality here, the same inclusion order, like the subset here, it will be the inequality. So clearly, by dividing um, all the numbers here in the inequality by n of s, we get it like 0 less or equals to na by ns less or equals to 1. And as we know that this is the probability of A, we can say that the probability of any event will be lying between these two numbers, 0 and 1. So from here we can say probability is kind of function that is taking one event as the input and giving as output in a real number between the numbers 0 and 1. So we can say probability from the set of all events, we can say that as the power set of S to the set of real numbers, such that CA equals to some real number that gives the probability of the event. Or you can simply call it CA as the probability of A. So clearly we can say that the range of this function P is the closed interval 0, 1. So this is another view of the probability of some. So this we have done. Now to the next topic is how we can operate the event within them. So suppose I'm taking two events here, E1 and E2, as these are sets, or better to say, these are subsets of S. Then we can also say that the union of these two events is also a subset of E, or we can say that the intersection of these two are also subsets of S. So we can find the probability of these events also. So let us see now what are the probabilities of these. Before that, let us make a note here again. Usually, this E1 union E2, this event we take as occurrence of either E1 or E2, as union means it is or, and E1 intersection E2 is taken as occurrence of both E1 and E2. So whenever both the events are happening at the same time, we can define that as the event E1 intersection E2. And if any one of the events are occurring at one time, then that can be given as or written as E1 union E2. So either E1 or E2 or these both E1 and E2. So later we will see that the union of two events stands for, in some sense, it is the addition of two events, and intersection of two events. Later it will stand for the multiplication of two events. So we can also write E1 union E2 as E1 plus E2, and E1 intersection E2 can be taken as the product of these two events, E1 into E2, or simply E1 E2. So taking this notations here from now on, let us find the probability of E1 plus E2. Based on the operation, we call this next theorem as addition theorem. It says for any two events associated to some random experiment, E, let us take the events as E1 and E2. We can say that the probability of E1 plus E2 is equal to probability of E1 plus probability of E2 minus probability of E1 into E2. This theorem is called addition theorem. So let us see how it is done. As a proof, we can just write few lines here that probability of E1 plus E2 can be written as n of E1 plus E2 divided by n of s, where s is a sample space. Now, n of E1 plus E2 is very simple, that it is the number of elements in the union. So for that we have a formula that n of E1 plus n of E2 minus n of E1 E2. It is the same old formula that we have used earlier in case of set theory. So if you now break it into three terms, we can easily write it as n of E1 by n of s plus n of E2 by n of s minus n of E1 E2 divided by n of s. So simply it can be written as, according to the definition of probability of an event, we can simply write this thing as P of E1 plus P of E2 minus P of E1. So this is how we define the probability of union of two events, or the probability of addition of two events. Special notes are coming here that if E1 and E2 becomes mutually exclusive, then what we can say? Then the probability of E1 into E2 will become 0. So then we can say the addition theorem changes to something like this. So for any two mutually exclusive events E1 and E2, the addition theorem says P of E1 plus E2 will be PE1 plus PE2. So that probability is being distributed over the addition sign. Another note here, if E1, E2 becomes exhaustive, then we will see that the probability of the addition of two events will become 1, because this addition of the two events will become the sample space then. So the probability will become 1. Or in details, we can also state like this: P of S, which is N of S by N of S. So this becomes 1. So very important thing at this point, so following the last note, a very important thing is here that if E1 and E2 are mutually exclusive and exhaustive, then what will happen? Then according to mutually exclusive events, we can say that P of E1 plus E2 is simply PE1 plus PE2, and according to exhaustive, this becomes 1. So this is the important case here, that for a set of mutually exclusive and exhaustive events, the sum of all the events will become 1. If we say that E1, E2, E3, and so on up to En, these are n mutually exclusive and exhaustive events, then we can say PE1 plus PE2 plus PE3 in this way up to PEN. This will become 1. So based on this, probability of complement of an event. So what is the complement of an event? So what is the complement of an event? Say A is an event associated to some random experiment E. So we can say that A is a subset of the sample space. So if I draw the Venn diagram here, you'll see that A will be some subset here. So obviously the outside of A will be another subset of S, and that means it is another event here. And we know that in set theoretic notation, we call it as A complement. So the set A complement being a subset of S, we can call A complement as an event under the same experiment, and we can describe it as not happening of A. And we can describe the event A complement as that A is not happening. So in this way, we can define the complement of an event. Complement means that particular event A is not happening. So in this case, how we can um, find the probability of this A complement? So let us see now. Two observations we need to make here that A union A complement, or we can say A plus A complement, is nothing but the whole sample space, and A intersection A complement or A into A complement is phi. So we can say that A and A complement are mutually exclusive and exhaustive. So from these two things, we can easily say that P of A plus P of A complement should be 1. So clearly from here we can say that P of A complement is 1 minus P of A. So this is how we are calculating the complement, the probability of the complement of an event. So I think till now it is very much clear. No confusion should be here for this much. The next thing we define here is the odds in favor of an event. This simply defined by the ratio of the probability of the event and the probability of the complement of the event. So if we say that odds in favor of some event A, then it is defined to be the ratio PA by PA complement. And in the same way, we have another term, odds against A, some event A. We define this one as the reverse ratio or the inverse ratio as PA complement by PA. So till now, I think everything is clear up to this point. So this is the first portion for probability theory. In the next video, we will be solving some problems based on this topic, and then we will continue with the conditional probability of an event.